Good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for that introduction there. I would like to thank Scotland Excel for the opportunity to present here today for the Green Skills for Net Zero Future as well. So as I was mentioned there, I'm the Sector Manager for Construction at ESP. I want to just give you a little bit of background about myself before I continue with some of these slides, because I think that's very important. So I'm a joiner to trade. My dad's a joiner to trade, and my grandfather's a joiner to trade. So I've got that construction background and that history and that drive, and I think that's a very key message for today, coming from the education sector as a college, that we have pre-expertise and we've got vast knowledge of staff throughout the whole sector. So you're engaging with actually expertise at the FE sector. And I actually have three musketeers here today representing the college sector. We've got Paul Lynn, who's West College Scotland, who's a heating engineer to trade. And we've got David Lowe, a Vice Principal at Borders College, who's a bricklayer to trade. And we've got Juliet Mallis, who's an architect to trade. So it just gives you the knowledge and understanding what's going behind the scene. Kelly, I've got to congratulate you for getting this framework moving, especially during COVID, because I know it's not an easy task. And I know she's up there somewhere, and she did say to me, I've got 15 minutes, and if she's waving, I can't really see her. She's up in the background there, some area. So thank you for that introduction, and I'm not going to repeat that because you just mentioned exactly what we're all about here. So our role as ESP is to broaden existing relationships, create new partnerships, and to promote increased collaboration, this be regionally or nationally, depending on the future skills needed. This is a regional map of all 24 colleges, and if you do know the college structure in Scotland, there is actually 26. But 2 of them have kicked off the system map because they're not related as construction colleges. But we do cover every area in Scotland, all the way up to Stornoway, Shetland and Orkney, and as far down as Dumfries as well. So we've got a good spread and they're well positioned to meet your requirements. I'd like to also highlight that all Scottish colleges have come together to establish and commit collaboratively a set of 10 key actions to address the climate emergency. Working in partnership with industry, employers and public sector bodies, the college sector aims to achieve net zero by 2040 or earlier. Scottish Government have set legally binding targets to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2045. We've heard that a lot today, but I think it's important still to say that again. We are expected to reduce emissions of all major greenhouse gases by at least 75%. By 2030 and by 2040, we are committed to reduce emissions by 90%. These are huge tasks to achieve. It's important that we work collaboratively, and Mary's reiterated that many times during her presentation, to achieve this. Be responsible as local authorities, housing associations, or supply chains to really understand what net zero means by 2045 and how are we going to achieve this. Colleges are well positioned to support your needs and have specialist staff to enable this. And it's just a matter of engaging with your local college to understand. There are business teams behind there. As I mentioned earlier, we've got expertise behind the scene. And it's just a simple thing as picking up that call or dropping an email to set an appointment. Now, going forward, over the last few years, the construction sector suffered from a world pandemic that's created a backlog of work. And on top of this, we've also suffered from Brexit. Both of these scenarios are applying pressure on an already busy construction sector. There's never been a greater demand for skilled tradespeople. To give an idea of the scale and size of skills needed, there is around 3,000 low-carbon, zero-emission heating systems installed in Scotland per year. By 2025, the projected install rate is needed to be at least 64,000 per year. Again, this is no light targets. It's very challenging. In the late 2020s, this figure is estimated to be around 200,000 installs. These figures are huge and highlights the skills that will be required over the next 10 years. The Building Skills Net Zero reports stated that 4,000 plumbing HVAC engineers will be required by 2028 to meet the demand for heat pump installations. And goes on to say that energy efficiency measures, retraining and creating new roles by 2028 affecting 22,500 people. The construction industry is going to get even busier and more challenging over the next few years. So it's critical that you actually start to look at your skills analysis and plan ahead. There are many opportunities for local authorities and housing associations to work in partnership with a regional college. accredited training courses for tradespeople to be upskilled to enable installation of low-carbon systems are available. Access to a semi-skilled workforce that is already in place. We have 5,000 candidates in the college sector seeking employment at low level. These are just new entrants that have just come straight from school. We have 20,000 actually candidates in the college sector who are actually studying some construction-related product, who are also seeking employment. In many meetings, I have heard there's not enough skills demand there. Colleges are full of people wanting to get into this sector. So it's a matter of taking that huge step and actually looking at building your workforce. There is an unconnected ongoing challenge. This is going to require to be joined up. Consumer awareness. Consumers are not confident in low-carbon heat technologies. Consumers are also required to be transitioning the benefits of low-carbon heat systems. If we don't work with the consumers, we will not have the demand. Supply chain merchants require the knowledge of understanding of systems as they are not at the forefront of the supply chain. New entrants, Scotland's an ageing workforce and a lack of skilled tradespeople. As a nation, we collectively need to stimulate new entrants, including the introduction of new pathways addressing equalities and diversity. As was mentioned this morning as well, STEM is so critical that you look at new entrants from schools transition all the way to FE into real jobs. Training providers, we have a responsibility to have regional training capability and capacity to meet national demand. We need to adapt to change, suit industry's needs, change our delivery models and offer courses specific to your needs. We have a responsibility to upskill our lecturers to enable efficient delivery and standardisation of training across all Scotland's colleges. Manufacturer-specific training should also be recognised, taking installers to an even higher level of specific low-carbon systems. Industry requires confidence, visibility of contracts well in advance, and being a joiner, I know exactly how that feels. Commitments from local authority, housing associations and government to enable Scotland to become net zero. Qualifications, apprenticeship frameworks require to be updated, injected with green skills as mandatory exercise preparing tradespeople for the green skills that is required. Policy, and this is why we're here today, policy is a driver behind this. Firm objectives need to be in place to improve quality of skills. Patrick Harvey mentioned the new energy agency this morning, and the work Kelly's doing is critical to this area. Funding, long-term investment is needed to transition and upskill our workforce into low-carbon heat sector. This is no light task and it requires an in-depth plan and commitment. Now, apologies, it's a busy map here, but this is just to highlight there's substantial investment has been applied to the college sector. In 2020, we only had 4 colleges offering low-carbon training. This is increased to 18 by 2022. This displays the investment and drive that the college sector has to make Scotland net zero by 2045. ESPA will continue to work to expand these training facilities across all of Scotland, with a key focus on the Highlands and Islands. The orange boxes of training facilities are still currently under development, and we have approximately 2,500 trade apprentices in the college sector across all 24 colleges. Colleges are in an ideal position to enhance apprentices with the skills that will have the impact towards meeting these targets. This slide gives you an overview of some of the new training facilities for heat pumps that have been installed in some of the colleges. Key partnerships with manufacturers are in place. This ensures our training facilities are kept in line with industry standards. So where are we now? In 2020, a group of trade bodies and standard setting organisations come together to agree a minimum competence for the tradespeople required to install energy efficiency and low carbon systems in Scotland. This is now public and has been incorporated into the new BSI Past 2030 document that was published in February 2022. Public procurement is a vehicle to drive policy. Scotland Excel has adopted the minimum skills competencies, and I welcome that highly, to improve the skills and quality within the supply chain. This collaboration will help bridge gaps and ensure the supply chain is equipped to deal with demand coming years. We have already seen positive results through this launch. We've got 150 new installation apprentices started, and 6 months ago that wasn't in place. So we're now starting to see a quality provision change. Again, busy slide, but just give you the idea, this is the skills matrix. It illustrates the development process. After identifying the skills for each measure, they will be aligned to existing qualification industry bodies. So we've got all renewable systems actually listed down the side, and renewables are actually signposted for a minimum competence on the right-hand side. This is an example of the minimum competencies for heat pump sector. You have a recognised career path for new entrants. These are known as plumber, heating, ventilation, or refrigeration engineer. Once you have completed one of these career paths, you will then undertake a bolt-on qualification. This bolt-on course consists of a 3 to 4 day training course. This includes a national occupational standard mapped heat pump course, and will also have to undertake water bylaws and domestic vented or unvetted hot water storage systems, unless they already hold these qualifications. It's worth mentioning that any person that has come through the SVQ route or equivalent can be upskilled at any point in their career. Finally, it was recognised that anyone working in pre-1919 buildings would have to be upskilled in a 2 to 3 short day course in energy efficiency measures for older and traditional buildings. This will allow them to increase their knowledge, in particular vulnerable buildings built prior to pre-1919. I just want to touch on a couple of slides to do with funding, because it's quite important you're aware of that. This is the Flexible Workforce Development Fund. £15,000 available per levy paying employer. To qualify for this, it's £15,000 to your local company annual wage bill, which needs to be more than £3 million. For enterprises with less than 250 employees, which I'm sure actually the majority of companies here today will qualify for, public third sector, up to £5,000 is available for companies that are based to operate in Scotland. Now, that's not common knowledge. It's an amazing amount of companies that aren't actually engaging in this £5,000. So it's £5,000 per company engaged in actually training. Now, that really is a good opportunity to tap into this sector. If you're interested in any of that funding, just the same again, drop into your local college or drop an email to them. Lastly, I would like to highlight the National Transition Training Fund. On that slide, I've got it ends June, but we just got an update yesterday that it's been extended to August 2022. This provides 100% funding to support people who have lost their job, or who are at risk of redundancy, or who are looking to transition into the energy efficiency and low carbon heat sector. It's aimed at people who are 25 and over. This is ideal for plumbers, gas, or electrical engineers that are looking to be upskilled. It's a quick and easy access from any of these colleges listed on this map. And finally, just one key message I just want to say is colleges are here. We're here to support local authorities, housing associations and the supply chain to transition their skills to meet net zero targets. Thank you.